A primary driving factor for my decision and desire to launch Be Employable is this personal belief that college students are lacking a certain level of preparedness when entering into the workforce, especially during that recruitment phase, that onboarding phase, that phase that forces you as the potential employee to make sure you're interviewing the company for what it is that you need, in particular, what you need from a manager. Now, while this conversation is really geared towards college students who are preparing to enter that professional market, or maybe just entered that massive pool of individuals who are now looking for jobs, the concepts that I'm going to talk through I truly think can be applied at any stage of your career, whether you are one of the folks just entering into the workforce, or maybe you're somebody with 20 years tenure. As a college student, you've had a variety of professors. If you average 5 classes per semester, that's 10 per year for 4 years, you're talking 40 courses. You might have doubled up on a few professors here and there, but at the end of the day, we can probably say that anywhere from 20 to 30 different professors. I think that's probably fair. And if you're a graduate student, it's compounded from there as well. I ask you to consider this. When you look at the spectrum of professors that you've had, they fall on one end or the other or somewhere in between of the type of professor that they are. On one end of the spectrum, you have the professor who is going to keep you accountable throughout the semester. They're going to check in with you. They're going to make sure that you're doing the work. They're going to ask you when it is that you need help. They're going to make sure and prepare you for, hey, we're going to have a quiz on this day, and they want you to be in class listening to lectures, taking notes, asking questions. On the other end of the spectrum, you have the professor that comes in on day one. They're going to hand you a syllabus, and they're going to say, I'll see you at the final. It's completely up to you how much work you do between that first day and that last day. Knowing that they might have open office hours, knowing that it's up to you if you have a question to seek them out, but they're really not there to help you get through it, right? They're just there to lay the foundation and expect you to find your way to the finish line. And then you have a variety of folks that fall somewhere in between. You might have that professor that starts very hands-on at the beginning and then gradually backs off, or somebody who checks in every now and again. That is your first level of understanding what it is that you need from a manager. At one end, you have what some would call a micromanager, someone who is there with you every single step of the way. On the other end, you have that manager who is completely and totally hands-off, who says, look, I'm here for you as your boss, and if you need me to knock down an obstacle, fine, but at the end of the day, it's really your job to figure out how to get the work done. Knowing where you succeeded in the classroom, where you succeeded in your college career, will help you identify where in that spectrum you need your manager to fall. And managers, it's important for you to also be honest with yourselves about where you fall in that spectrum. Are you the completely hands-on, or are you the completely hands-off? I'm going to take a quick step back here and just make a little statement of how I feel about the micromanager. Micromanagers have, I think, a negative reputation for being helicopter-like, and maybe they're holding you back in your career, they're not able to let go. But at the end of the day, I truly believe micromanagers who aren't micromanagers just because they're afraid of letting go or they're afraid of relinquishing power, but micromanagers who are just there with you every single step of the way are an important part of the ecosystem. There are people, especially those just entering the workforce or those who have shifted their careers, who need a more hands-on person. And who you need from day one might not be who you need 3 years from then, but think about the evolution that you both have to go through together on this journey. You're not there alone, unless you're running the company, and even then, you're still probably not alone. Understanding how you work with other people is important. But when it comes to you interviewing a manager, understanding their style is key. Asking about their style. What does the ramp up for this position look like? And if their expectation is that, well, within 6 months, I think you should be flying solo, that's something for you to consider. Are you somebody who thinks of that as that's far too long? I want more autonomy. I want to just be given the opportunity to figure this out on my own. Or does that stress you out? Do you think I can't possibly get my head around this in 6 months? The other thing to consider is when you're asking these questions and you're providing these answers, if somebody comes to you and says, well, what do you need in a manager? Or what are you looking for? Or what is the style in which you thrive in? Don't give an answer that you think they want to hear. Give the answer that is most honest for what it is that you need. So if you go in and you say, look, I want to eventually be working on my own, but I'm going to need some help at the beginning. Or you're that person who says, look, I really want to work side by side with someone. I want to share responsibility. And on the other end of that conversation, if you are a manager, be honest with those with people about your management style. If you're completely hands off, prepare them for that coming in. At either side of this conversation, if the interviewer or the interviewee is simply giving an answer to a question based upon what they believe the other person wants to hear, or they believe that's the most acceptable answer they can give, and it's not true to their style or their needs, neither of you are setting up this relationship for success. So just consider that. Consider what it is that you know. Where have you succeeded and with who? When you look at the professors that you've had in class, where was it that you had your highest success rate? And considering the fact that you've had at least 20 to 30 different opportunities here, you have a variety of understanding how it was that you learned, how it was that you grew, or did you stay the same? Consider your freshman year to your sophomore year to graduation. How was it that you progressed? How was it that your courses changed? How was it that your professors changed? Maybe a professor you had your freshman year, you had again your senior year, but their expectation for you changed and their approach with you changed simply because of your tenure as a college student. Considering all of this and doing the work for yourself, because that is part of your employability, right? It's not enough to be employable. Your resume, the work that you've done in school, the internships that you've done, that's going to make you employable. It's going to make you appealable. Appealing, I guess, is the better word. You are appealing to a variety of organizations, but your employability, your ability to be on that team, you first have to understand what it is that you need and how it is that you succeed. If you can't answer those things for yourself, you can't go into an organization expecting them to answer it for you. Another part of this conversation is understanding how you work with teams, but we're going to save that for the next episode. Thank you for joining, and I hope you found this helpful.